the news because I'm here. I'm in the news because the Democratic Party is here. Damn it, lower than that. Down at the bottom. They suck right now. Horrible. Because they don't have a voice.
The left is panicking as donors are now pulling back on donations and instead opting to support President Trump. DOGE finds that Social Security has been sending billions of dollars to people who should not be getting benefits. Oh, and the plane crash in Toronto may have been caused by an airline obsessed with DEI hires. I hope you guys are sitting down because we have a lot of shocking news in today's video, starting with the Democratic Party's mad scramble to find an identity as supporters are growing tired of the same old message. Now, guys, if you appreciate the daily updates, please take a second, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel.
Turning to the Democratic Party, this is also huge. Struggling to counter President Trump and his agenda, donors reportedly getting pretty fed up. Listen to this. According to the New York Times, quote, some of the country's biggest liberal donors have paused giving, frustrated with what they see as Democrats' lack of vision and worried about retaliation from a vengeful president. Some Democrats say a few of their reliable donors, listen to this, are now openly supporting Mr. Trump or are at least looking to curry favor with him. Laura, that last line, first of all, I'm sure the New York Times loved to report that. But, you know, you were at the RNC previously, and to have a Democratic donor now change support to Trump, that's a pretty dramatic change.
It's huge. You almost never see this happen. It's one thing to convince someone to vote for another party, but to have the money come in and these big donors, that is huge. But I think what you're seeing with the Democrats, Kaylee, is they're rudderless. They have no real leader. They have no rising stars. They have no real message, except it seems the opposite of whatever Donald Trump does. And whenever Donald Trump is there exposing all the rot in our federal government, being transparent with the American people, saving billions of our taxpayer dollars, it's sort of hard to argue against that. So, yeah, they're going to have a really hard time as a party. And just if I may, as the former co-chair of the RNC, one of the things that I noticed at the DNC, I know you guys talked about this when they were voting for their new leadership, they all raised their hands whenever they said, do you feel like misogyny and racism were the reasons Kamala Harris lost? They've learned nothing.
The Democratic Party refuses to adapt, and they just cannot seem to understand that money talks. And if you mess with someone's money, then you're probably going to be in trouble. That's exactly what DOGE has been exposing, because as Americans learn about taxpayer dollars being used on anyone else but U.S. citizens, you just can't help but feel cheated, right? If y'all feel cheated, let me know in the comments, guys. And I think Senator John Kennedy made some really good points here as he offered the left with a little bit of advice. Watch.
I've got a lot of friends who are Democrats, and they haven't asked me for advice, but if I did, I'd tell them, look, you just got to try harder not to suck. I mean, think about it. Over the past 4 years, the Democrats mismanaged Congress, they mismanaged COVID, they mismanaged the economy, they mismanaged inflation, they mismanaged the national debt, they mismanaged Afghanistan. More recently, in their opposition to President Trump and Mr. Musk, the Democrats have chosen to support the bureaucrats and the spending porn over the American taxpayer. Just like they support illegal immigration over the rule of law, just like they support transgender athletes over women's sports, just like they support Hamas terrorists over Israel. All Democrats are not like this, but the party is controlled right now by people who majored in online activism with a minor in puberty blockers. I know these people. They think women, they think men can breastfeed. They're triggered by race. They cry if you use the wrong pronoun. And most fair-minded Americans look at this and they go, these people are about 10 exits past normal. And that's what's killing the Democrats right now.
Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. Now, of course, John Kennedy, he's going to get attacked for this, especially since he's hitting a lot of tender spots for the Democratic Party. But that's that doesn't matter right now. What matters is that the left is losing out on financial support. Now, you got to be stupid or borderline moronic to think that you're doing the right thing when the money stops. If anything, it's telling you that you're going in the completely wrong direction. And that's exemplified by their support of taxpayer dollars being stolen. Democrats are going above and beyond to try to hold DOGE back from exposing where our money goes. Now, the best part is that they're proud that they're stalling these audits. I mean, just look at how some top Democrats talk about it.
We're winning in court. More than a dozen federal injunctions and temporary restraining orders have been issued against everything from their illegal seizure of computer data to their illegal attempt to ban birthright citizenship.
Number one, you know the Constitution. You know they can't just freeze these funds.
This DOGE, I call it the Department of Government Inefficiencies, is causing a reign of terror, chaos across the federal government.
Chaos and terror that's zeroed in on corruption and waste. And I think this supports what Senator John Kennedy said about the party. They focused on defending all of this fraud that's affecting our money. That's not a very popular position. It's made even worse each day, especially with DOGE finding money that's being funneled away from citizens who deserve it. And yes, we are talking about Social Security benefits here.
There's an Inspector General audit last year that showed over an 8-year period, the Social Security Administration made almost $72 billion in improper payments, a little less than 1% of payments in that time period. Now, the report also says that most of these improper payments were overpayments, not payments to deceased people or people who didn't qualify to receive these payments. At the same time, Jose, this effort by DOGE is to go through this agency like every other and try to weed out waste and fraud.
Yeah, I mean, and also 72 billion, and that's without a comprehensive search. I mean, that's significant.
Now, I'm expecting that the response to this is going to be pretty simple. These are overpayments, and the SSA has been dealing with this for years. Now, besides that, they're also going to say that it's a drop in a bucket. Oh, it's a measly 1% and something that we shouldn't even worry about. But that doesn't seem to be a very good way to look at things, does it? Because what Elon Musk is doing is he's looking at every single dollar. And $72 billion is a lot of dollars, which goes back to the very point that DOGE is trying to make here. This is our money. It shouldn't be going to people or places where it shouldn't go. But somehow Elon Musk is the problem, right? They want all of these news outlets to be outraged about Elon Musk coming in and checking our data. But it's not just our data that they're checking. They're looking for fraudulent transactions. How else are they supposed to find that without rummaging through everything? And MSNBC wasn't very happy when they were told about what DOGE might be able to find within Social Security.
What kind of information, et cetera, could a DOGE into Social Security be looking into?
Well, I think fraud is a big issue here. You know, it's not made up. The extent to which it exists, though, seems to be significantly exaggerated. As long as there has been government aid, of course, Jose, there's been government fraud. People have long sought to take advantage of these government programs, making up whole identities, going after the benefits of dead people even. That does happen, but it's known as, what people in government refer to as an accounting trick.
Accounting tricks worth billions upon billions of dollars. That's not just a trick. That's a whole magic show. But if you ask me, guys, I think it's a little bit more like a clown show because that's our money. It shouldn't be stolen or taken advantage of. But again, that's what the majority believes. Democrats don't seem to agree with this idea. Now, moving on, guys, the plane crash in Toronto continues to be talked about as the mystery has been solved. So we now have footage of the crash, and it's kind of like a scene from a movie. I'll probably have the clip playing, but you guys can see it crash and then turn upside down. And it doesn't seem to be affected by anything other than the wind. Now, of course, there are some conspiracy theories that are coming up, one of which is connected to Endeavor Air, a small airline that's supposedly obsessed with all-female unmanned flights. They've even made viral posts on social media where you're not going to find any other crew member besides women. At least that's the idea. And while there hasn't been any verifications as to who was actually flying this plane, I think it's pretty safe to say that this version of DEI is creating a little bit of backlash for them. Now, I understand what they're trying to do in some way, but But at the core of it, jobs should still be merit-based, right? And that's what the Trump administration is pushing towards, which means that race and gender shouldn't play a role in you being able to get a job. It's your experience, it's your wits, it's your IQ, your intelligence that should speak for itself. Now, ironically, Delta Airlines reaffirmed its commitment to DEI just before the crash happened. Delta Chief External Affairs Officer Peter Carter, he had this to say when questioned about DEI. DEI is about talent, and that's been our focus. We are steadfast in our commitment because we think that they are actually critical to our business. A statement that did not age well. Now we have to wait and see when they release the names of these pilots. But at this point, I think we should all be just thankful that no one was killed in this crash. So here's my question, guys. Are you worried about flying these days? Do you trust flying on an airplane? Or are you kind of thinking, maybe I'll postpone that trip or maybe even drive? Now, guys, I want to redirect you to a previous live stream I did where everything is President Trump's fault. Even this plane crash. I also talked about former Vice President Kamala Harris showing up to Broadway drunk. Make sure you guys check that one out. As always, appreciate you hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing. We'll see you on the next one.